One evening, as the remains of dinner still cluttered the kitchen table, my wife spoke of wanting freedom. Her tone was so casual, as though she were asking me to run a simple errand. In the dim glow, her voice steady and practiced, she told me she longed to be free. At first, I assumed she meant a short break, maybe a weekend away, a brief escape from the weight of daily life. But as her words continued, the truth landed with the force of a heavy blow. She wasn't asking for space. She was asking to leave me. Looking into her eyes across the table, 10 years of our life together collapsed into a single, cutting word: freedom. The calm certainty in her voice, untouched by regret, cut deeper than the word itself. There was no hesitation, no sign of inner conflict. She had already decided. I didn't yell. I didn't plead. I simply grabbed my keys and walked into the night. Each step felt heavy, pressing against my chest like invisible stones. I wandered aimlessly, struggling to face the reality that the woman I had devoted myself to no longer wanted me. She had said it without even a flicker of doubt. As I drifted down the street, Sarah, our neighbor, noticed me. She was standing in her driveway, folding laundry she'd just taken from her car. Her eyes lingered on me, reading the weight in my expression. "Rough night?" she asked gently, her voice soft but disarming. I shook my head, but the truth spilled out anyway. She says she wants to be free. Sarah tilted her head, her gaze cutting through the cracks in my spirit. Without hesitation, she said, "Come with me. You shouldn't be alone right now." Numbly, I agreed. Maybe it was a quiet strength in her voice. Or maybe, in that moment, anyone who saw my pain felt like a lifeline. She drove us to a small diner on the edge of town. Its flickering neon sign hummed faintly, and the air smelled of old coffee. We slid into a booth, and she ordered 2 mugs of coffee. I couldn't bring myself to eat, but the warmth of the cup in my hands kept me grounded. Sarah didn't press me to relive the words that had gutted me. Instead, she talked about her day, her teenage daughter's latest mischief, and how her washing machine had once broken, leaving her to scrub clothes in the bathtub for weeks. Her stories were simple, ordinary, unremarkable. Yet somehow they began stitching the edges of my brokenness back together. When I finally spoke, my voice was barely more than a whisper. 10 years together, and she just says she wants to be free. Sarah met my eyes, her gaze steady and warm. "Then give her that freedom," she said. "But don't let her take away who you are." Those words struck harder than anything my wife had ever said. For months, maybe longer, I had been bending, diminishing myself to keep together a marriage that was already unraveling. Sarah wasn't just comforting me. She was reminding me that my worth didn't hinge on her rejection. After the diner, she drove us to a lookout just outside town, where the city lights shimmered below like a sea of stars. We sat in silence, the crisp night air steadying my breath. I expected cliches about time healing all wounds. Instead, Sarah simply said, "Don't let her ruin you." Her words didn't feel like advice. They felt like a command. In the weeks that followed, I began to see Sarah differently. Not in the way rumors might suggest, but as someone who appeared exactly when I needed her. She would check in quietly, away from across the street, or dropping off extra food with a simple made too much. Those small gestures carried a warmth my wife's detachment never had. Meanwhile, my wife reveled in her independence. Late nights, laughter with strangers. It became clear she hadn't been trapped by our marriage. She had been waiting for her escape. Oddly, I found myself caring less and less. Whenever despair crept in, Sarah's words echoed back, "Don't let her ruin you." Then one night, the phone rang. It was my wife, her voice trembling. "I think I made a mistake," she said. "This isn't what I thought it would be. Can we try again?" I let the silence stretch. For years, I had been the one patching holes, chasing after what was breaking. Not anymore. "No," I said at last. "You wanted freedom. Now you have it." She cried, she begged, but my resolve held firm. Not out of anger, but because I finally understood her choices did not define my worth. The next morning, Sarah spotted me on the porch. She raised an eyebrow, wordlessly asking, I smiled, truly smiled, for the first time in months. She called. I said. Sarah's lips curved knowingly. And I told her no. Sarah nodded, her eyes carrying quiet approval. Good. You deserve better than someone who only wants you when it suits them. That night, as I lay in bed, there was no mocking laughter, no empty chill beside me, just stillness. But it wasn't hollow. It felt like peace, like the beginning of a new chapter. My wife had asked for liberation, and I gave it to her. What stunned me wasn't the pain of losing her. It was realizing I hadn't lost anything worth holding on to. Sometimes, the deepest discovery isn't the wound of betrayal. It's the strength you uncover in yourself when someone else decides to walk away.